like to say welcome, everyone. So glad that you are here. If you'll come into a standing position, hopefully we won't get too much barking from the peanut gallery out there. And first, just shift your weight as far as you can to one side and shift your weight as far as you can to the other side. And wake up the body to the fact that it has two sides of it, and it's not going to be using them equally, and it never has and never will. But we will identify when we finally get that weight even or evenish to the feet, and then we'll start to twist and turn ourselves. So a little bit of a spinning movement. And that spinning action is going to twist our spine. It's going to take our arms, and if you turn with greater force, they'll move further away from the body. And that's going to help warm up and decompress the shoulders. It's going to help to warm up the spine. It's going to create movements that adjust spinal joints. And it's going to make us aware of our body so that we can create purposeful adaptations to things that might be irritating. Now, when we've done that a little bit, we're going to take our arms up and down, forward and back. And that movement is going to create a different positive stress in the shoulder. And so not all stress is bad. Some stress we're deliberately creating so that the body will be provoked into change. And so we just keep it in a pleasant feeling way. And then when you're ready to, you let the knees go soft, rocking your weight back onto the heels, and you lose your balance. It's sometimes hard to trust that we can regain our balance, and so we're fearful, and that fear makes us stiff, and it makes us harder to keep our balance and to regain it. So just relax a little bit. You're going to step forward if you need to, or you'll bend those knees, grow into a crouch, lower your center of gravity. That's the best thing to do in a loss of balance. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, knees soft so that they're more easily bent, so you don't lock them. And if you're in a situation where you think balance is a challenge, try not to lock your knees. Great, let's put the other foot forward and we'll create that action, rocking, that moving. And that is great. Okay, now let's stand again and let's let the weight go into the inner edges of the feet. And then let the weight go into the outer edges of the feet and move as far as is comfortable to you, both in the inner and the outer movements. And you may notice some things about your ankle, about your foot, but let's create an activated arch. And for that, we balance across the ball of the foot. We push the heels away from each other, which uplifts the arch. Now bring your toes up, pull back your fingers. Let's get some more muscle actions. Squeeze those toes down, grip them down, take the fingers into the top part of the hand and go back and forth. And one of the main themes of yoga is to use muscles and to move joints in ways that we don't normally. And that's what we're doing right now, moving those toes and taking the fingers to this position. And now let's do this. Spread out, fingers and toes wide, and then squeeze them together tight. And all the time we're doing these foot exercises, we're pushing our heels away from each other. So we're creating these actions. And now let's let big toes move towards each other. There's often an awkward phase when we're trying to create movements that we're not used to. Push down the big toe, heels pushed out, small toes come up and down. We get rid of the awkwardness through persistent practice. It becomes easier as we keep practicing. Small toes down, heels pressed out, big toe up and down. And that's great. Now, biggest toe down, littlest toe down, 3 center toes up and down. And then that is walking up the feet, but we'll still keep the heels pressed out, balanced ball of foot, active arch as we pull back our hips and lengthen the spine from the tailbone through the top of the neck, the chin coming level, the head reaching upward, the shoulders gently drifting down. And with a deep breath, we're going to lift our arms out and up, inhaling the entire way up. And then with an exhale, we're going to slow it so it matches the lowering of the arms. But then we're going to inhale, lifting the arms up the center line, and exhale coming out and down. And it's normal to feel different in the body with the arms in different positions. So we'll just keep changing the pattern. We'll inhale, lifting. We'll exhale, lowering. And then we'll twist the other way. We'll inhale, lifting. And exhale, lowering. And then we'll just continue another round. Good. And we're establishing that deep rhythmic breath. Let's keep it happening as we raise the arms. Lift up the center of the spine, lift up the side of the chest, lift up the arm, and inhale deeply. Exhale and let it go. So bring up the center and the side and the arm, and inhale. Exhale, release. Again. Center lift, side lift, arm reach, inhale. Exhale. Lift the center, lift the side, lift the arm, inhale. Exhale, take those hands, interlock them, press your palms out, stretch those hands. Let the arms and the chest lift up, and as we're lifting up, we're going to spiral. We're going to keep breathing. We're going to spiral comfortably and inhale. And then exhale, releasing out of the spiral. So we're going to uplift, beginning to spiral the opposite direction, stretching upward, inhale. Exhale, we release that spiral, and we're going to release it. We're going to lift the chest, we're going to lift the arms. And in that constant lift, we're going to add an arch back with a comfortable arch. We'll inhale. And then exhale, let those arms swing free. Bring up your chest, squeeze together your shoulder blades, reach those arms back, exhale. Let those shoulders go forward, broaden the space between the shoulder blades, inhale deeply. And then it's reach and squeeze back and exhale. Forward shoulders, inhale. And once again, the reach and squeeze back, the exhale. And we let that release, and we step to our feet are now about mat or shoulder distance wide. And we're making the twist again. And we're noting changes, or maybe something that we didn't notice before is now very evidently there. Let's isolate. Let's uplift the chest. Now, don't move your hips, but try and turn the shoulders. This means the deeper muscle layers have to engage. And they might not. We might just do everything with surface muscles. The body tends to be very limiting as what it lets us do. Uplift the chest. Let's move our hips. And we'll tend to do the things we always do. We don't trod new ground unless we're really forced to, with things like this, holding alignment. Okay. Push your feet and your knees outwards and pull in your core. Keep your chest lifted to lower your shoulders. Now, on one side, push your hand down and tilt that way, keeping the shoulders and the hips lined up, keeping your pelvis in the center, keep those legs pressing out. And when you're ready, lift the ribs, lift the arms, stretch it on up there. Take a deep breath. And then exhaling, lift yourself all the way out. And we start again with the legs pressing out, the belly pulling in, the chest staying lifted, but the shoulders lowering. And now the other hand presses. And the shoulders line up with the hips. And the pelvis stays at center. We lift the ribs and lift the arm and we stretch up. And then exhaling, we lift ourselves all the way out. Great. Now we're going to make a very wide stance. So take those feet nice and wide and bend those knees. Keep the chest lifted, but bring your hands down so your low back is swaying toward the navel. And then let a shoulder cross toward that midline. Stretch. Notice where you feel the stretch. Keep those knees separated, breathing. And then we're going to go the other way, stretching that shoulder across. It could be very different one side versus the other. We're going to go back to that first side, reaching across now. Make an inhale so your ribs expand wide. And exhale, center, reach across the other way. Inhale, expand those ribs wide. Exhale, come to center. And at center, shift your weight to one side. Now we're going to straighten the other leg, and our target is this inner thigh stretch. You might be fine with the body staying up high. You might want to go lower or even all the way down to the hands on the floor. But the inner thigh stretch is going to be there for us. We just need to find it. Breathing. And we're going to go the other way. So some muscles are always going to feel like that we could easily stretch them. And inner thigh is one of those. Breathing deep. Just loosening it up for our further actions. Let's go back to that first side. Breathe. And once again to the second side. That is good. Now coming to center, it's good to have the elbows on the knees. And I want us to remain in center, lifting the hips enough that the back of the leg begins to stretch. And either press in the legs, moving the ribs a little forward, or grab those elbows and let the head and the arms hang. And we're decompressing our spine through either traction or through this weight of gravity. And we're breathing deeply, adjusting to a comfortable hamstring stretch. And then we're going to put one hand down. Now we're bringing the other shoulder up toward the back into a twist. We press out the feet. We move our chest away from our hips for spinal length. We stretch that arm up. Let's take a deep breath. And then exhaling, we're going to take the hand down and bring the other shoulder up and toward the back. Chest away from hips, pressing up the legs. Arm can reach up. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, we come off to center. Now at center, put the elbows up on the knees. And reach one shoulder toward the center line. And that's going to be a slightly different stretch than we've done before. Breathing deeply. Come back to center. Reach the other shoulder toward that center. Take a breath. Come back to center. Now bring your hands up onto the knees. And notice that your shoulders are tucked up right near those earlobes. Keep the shoulders up there, but bend one elbow, put the heel of the palm in the crease of the leg, and put the other one there too. You can lift the chest a little more. But on one side, I want you to straighten the arm to lengthen the spine, so straighten as much as feels comfortable. And it's okay if the elbow doesn't go completely straight. Take a deep breath. Exhale, let that elbow bend. Now the other side. We begin to straighten comfortably. We take a deep breath. Exhale, the elbow bends. And now both sides. We're going to fully lengthen our spine. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, let the elbows bend, let the knees bend. Come up out of that. Now we've done preparation, and the plan is to do some sun salutes, but maybe that's not your plan today. Maybe your plan is to do something different, something more easy or comfortable. And in the sun salute, you're welcome to pick and choose. Do the things that seem comfortable, modify, adapt, or completely avoid. But here we go. Let's start at the front of the mat, our feet about hip distance wide. The hips are back, spine is lifting, the chin is level. When we breathe in, let's lift our arms up. Now, as we exhale, grab the elbows, bend the knees, lift the hips, and fold into the forward bend. You can have the elbows resting on the knees, or if you prefer, the elbows hanging, the head and arms hanging, so there's more stretch in the spine. We're swaying a little bit side to side, feeling some stretch in the hamstrings that we control with the bending or straightening of the knee. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, place hands and step your right foot back and go into lunge. Left knee stays over the ankle. Now lift up the right hip, bring a balance to the ball of the foot, and reach your heel back, stretch your calf. Pull the chest and shoulders forward, lengthen the spine. Hold an active arch in the left foot, and you leave light pressure of fingers to the mat, or for more intensity, one or both arms forward. Take a deep breath. Exhale, bring your hands flat. We're stepping back in plank, so pull in the abs, lengthen by moving the chest forward, the hips and heels back. Take a deep inhale, and then exhale, softly lower the knees, and then bring your hips back toward the heels and arms forward to a nice child pose, the elbows resting down. And you can stay still if you wanted, but if you sway a little side to side, to bring more stretch into the shoulders, and you can do that to the point that an elbow is lifting, one shoulder going higher than the other, or just keep it in a very subtle sway. Just find your comfort point with it, breathing deeply. Now coming more forward, I put my shoulders over those elbows, and I can do a little sway from side to side. I can put my knees close together and do a bigger sway from side to side. And I can even pivot my feet to one side, so I'm shortening the side of the waist one side and then the other. And all of that's possible. Now at center, we're going to rest the top of the foot down, press the hands evenly, and come slowly forward to upward dog, bringing those shoulders toward the wrist, lifting the collarbones and sinking down the hips. Press the hands and the top of the foot evenly, lift up your collarbones, inhale. And now exhaling, we're moving back to downward dog. So press those feet, lift those hips, and push the chest toward the thigh, bringing your head between your arms. Press the hands evenly, let the thumbs pull toward the feet, and bring a balance on the ball of the foot, lifting up your heels. Bend your knees and lift up your hips higher. Keep pushing your chest toward the thighs, but also make some wideness in the shoulder blades just by pulling the shoulders toward the hips a bit. Take another deep breath, hips lifting. And on this exhale, we're going to step our right foot forward into lunge. Now, if you can bring your left knee down, you make it more easy to bring the ankle forward, so do that anytime. Lift up the left hip, balance the ball of the foot, that heel reaches back, the chest and shoulders pull forward, that right foot's holding its arch, and we just lighten pressure on the hands or one or both arms forward. Take a deep breath. And then on exhale, we're going to step forward to the forward bend. Press down into the heels, bend those knees, pull your belly in tight, and from the squat position, we inhale and lift up and exhale. Now we'll do our second round. Inhale up. Exhale, grab the elbows, bend the knees, lift the hips up. And in this forward bend, bring the elbows against the shins and fold the head. Hands, lift the hips and let the head rest if you like. Start by pulling your shoulder blades toward your hips and then pressing into the legs to move your ribs toward your knees. Push out your feet and your knees. Breathe deeply into your upper back area. Nice deep breath. And on this exhale, place those hands. And stepping left foot back. Now first it's a lunge position. We're going to go into side angle. We're going to roll the left heel down, lift the left shoulder up, bring the right elbow up onto the knee.
Now make your hips stay in the center of the mat. Move the right knee toward the right edge. Feel that outer hip engage and lift that left shoulder as above the right shoulder as you can. Lengthen the right side shoulder away from hip, feeling the arches of those feet. And we can take that left arm if we like and stretch it forward. A nice deep inhale. Exhaling, we could take the arm and bring it behind or back to lift the shoulder even higher. And then take that right arm forward for more work. Take a deep breath. And then exhale, we're going to move into our plank position. Even pressure on those hands, stepping right leg back. Chest goes forward, hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhaling softly, lower down the knees and move the hips back toward the heels, letting those elbows come all the way down. Now walk your right hand forward so the ribs pull a little past the knee and sway out to the right as much or as little as you want. You want to feel a stretch on the right side of the rib area. You want to breathe to the right side because this is going to release some tension that blocks us from breathing more deeply. So breathe into the right side so the lungs expand more, so the ribs have to move apart, so the muscles have to engage. So everything about this helps us create the expansion we need for that deep breath. And then on exhale, take the chest to center, bring the hands even. Now left hand is going to walk forward, fall flat. We sway over to the left comfortably. And we experience a stretch on one side, which may be more or less than the right. But we breathe to the left. We create action into it. We ask that heart, that lung, to get more engaged, more inflated, and everything to stretch so we end up being able to breathe more deeply. Exhaling, chest to center, hands even. Now even pressure to those hands. And we start to come forward and into upward dog. Shoulders travel forward to the wrist. The collarbones lift as we sink down our hips. Hand pressure evenly at the top of the foot. We lift the collarbones, inhale, and then exhale, we're moving back to downward dog. So lift hips, push your chest toward your thighs. Those palms evenly flat, come pulling toward the feet and head between the arms. Get that balance on the ball of the foot and lift up your heels. Bend your knees and lift up your hips. Keep pushing your chest toward your thighs. Now start pulling your shoulders toward your hips very strongly so your lat muscles know they're supposed to be active. Press your hands and elbows toward each other. That will bring action into your pectoral muscles and widen the space between the shoulder blades at your serratus anterior. Keep your hips lifted, your chest pushing toward your thighs as you stabilize those shoulders with those actions. And if you like, paddle your heels down and up, adding additional stretch. Doing all of that you like. Take a deep breath. And then on your exhale, we're stepping left foot forward to lunge, ankle on the knee, and right knee can come down and help you adjust. And then side angle, right heel goes down, the right shoulder lifts up, the left elbow comes up on the knee. Hips into the center of the mat, left knee toward the left edge. We bring that right shoulder above the left. We lengthen that left side shoulder away from the hip. And then the right arm could reach away from that right ankle. Take a deep breath. Exhaling if you want, the right arm could come behind the back. And then we could, if we want, lift that left arm forward. Take a deep breath. And then the exhale, we step forward into forward bend. Press down the heels and bend the knees and belly tight. Inhale up from the squat. Exhale. And then one more round. Inhale. Exhaling, grab the elbows, lift the hips, hang the head and shoulders down, or keep the elbows on the knees, your choice. In this position, once we bend those knees, we get ourselves adjusted with the upper body, but I want you to pay attention to your feet. I want you to push the heels out, get the ball of the foot balanced, and have a beautiful arch. Lift your toes, keep that beautiful arch, but then press your feet and knees outward like you're trying to stretch your mat apart between your feet. You should be feeling some engagement in the outer hips. Now, if you have your elbows on the knees, you can press forward to traction the spine, or you can let the head and the arms hang. And in both situations, we're creating a nice separation of this pelvic area with the pressure of our legs so that we can adjust it to a better and more optimal position. Let's take a deep breath. And then exhale, relax those legs, place the hands, step the right foot backward, bring the right knee down into a low lunge, and let the top of your foot rest. We're going to turn this into a twist. Place even pressure on your right hand. Your left hand goes to your knee. Now you could just twist toward your left front leg, but to make it more intense, you could lift your hips and then twist and seat the hips down. Tighten up the right seat muscle, lengthen the right side, breathe into the right side deeply. And then on exhale, placing hands, let's step back in plank. Pulling those abs in tight as we lengthen the chest forward, the hips and heels back. Inhale. Exhaling softly, lower down the knees. Hips back toward heels until the elbows come all the way down. Now, push against your palms and let your elbows come up. And I want you to squeeze together your shoulder blades. And while you're doing that, just breathe into your belly. And that squeezing shoulder blades is your rhomboid muscles. They're good stabilizers for the shoulder. Get them nice and active. It'll feel like quite a bit of a pinch if you get a good strong contraction there. And on this next exhale, put your elbows down. Now, as you press down on the elbows, work to lift your spine upward. And that is the work of the serratus anterior muscle, the lifting of the spine, the separating of those shoulder blades. Good counterbalance to those rhomboid muscles. Let's take a deep breath into that upper shoulder blade area. And on this exhale, we come forward to upward dog. The shoulders travel forward to the wrist. The collarbones lift as we sink down the hips. We keep even pressure on the hands. We even press the top of the foot. Lift the collarbones and inhale. And then exhale, we're moving back to downward dog. Lift hips and push your chest towards your thighs. Now the palms should be evenly flat. Head between the arms. We get the balance on the ball of the foot and we lift our heels. We bend our knees and we lift our hips. We keep pushing our chest toward our thighs. We're going to pull shoulders toward hips. Press hands and elbows toward each other. Make it wide between the shoulder blades. Now you can stay like that, paddling the heels, or you can shift the weight to the right foot and lift the left foot up. And maybe if you want to stretch that left leg all the way up. Take a deep breath. And then on exhale, that left leg's going to be brought down. We can shift the weight to the left, maybe leave it just like that, or stretch the right leg all the way up. Take a deep breath. Exhale, bring the right leg down. And now we're going to step right foot forward. Left knee's going to come down, but you know, if you wanted to bring your left knee down first, that would be a lot easier. Let the top of the left foot rest and put even pressure on that left hand, right hand to that right front knee. You can either twist straight over or lift hips, twist, and sink down. Tighten the left seat muscle, lengthen the left side, breathe into the left side deeply. And then exhale and we'll step forward, our feet hip distance. Press down those heels and bend the knees with belly tight. We're going to inhale and lift ourselves up. And then exhale. And then that is great. Now a long spine goes with everything. So let's lengthen our spine again. Take those feet out wide. And lift the shoulders up until they're near those earlobes and bend the knees and make that nice little crease line between the leg and the pelvis. Heel of the palm brought there. We tilt slightly forward. Those elbows are bent right now. Pressing on your right side, see how much you can straighten the elbow, how much you can lengthen the spine comfortably. Take a deep breath. Exhale, right elbow bends. Now left side, we're going to begin to straighten, lengthen. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, the elbow bends, and now both sides. We press, we work to straighten both arms. We traction that spine, make it nice and long. Take a deep breath. And then exhale and bend the elbows and bend the knees and come up out of that. Well, I tell you, it's one of my favorite things to do when I'm on a long car ride is get out and do that action. Lengthen that spine. You know, I want us to work on several different things. Balance being one of the key things. And there's different ways to balance. You know, there's tree pose and other things like that. But what I want is to, you know, accomplish several things at once. So we're going to do a bit of a balance work that starts off as a sort of a stretch of the back of the leg, the hamstring area, and then continues forward, sort of a choose your own adventure, how far you take it into balancing. So it's going to be a one leg forward bend in the beginning of it all. So I'm going to stand and I'm going to have my feet hip distance wide. I'm going to step my right leg back, but not too far back because I want my pelvis to continue to face the front edge of the mat. And I want there to be space between my feet, not just this lengthways, but to the left and the right. So my left foot's somewhat close to the left edge, my right foot's somewhat close to the right edge. My right foot's turned out about 45 degrees, but my pelvis can still tilt forward. That's our starting position. We're going to make our thighs tighten. So we're firming up the knee and we're making a nice firm pressure of contraction right here in the front of the thigh. And we're going to add to that in the elongated spine. So we're going to lift our chest away from the pelvis, both in the front and in the back, and pull in the core. And as we keep that length, that thigh tightness, we're going to start to tilt forward. Now keep breathing and limit the tilt to what feels like a comfortable stretch in that left front leg. Don't let your back round. Keep your pelvis from pulling backward. Keep it pressed forward toward the front of the mat. And there will be a limit, and the left leg's probably going to be the thing that limits us because it's going to start to feel strong sensation of stretch. So you can try tightening your thighs, but even with that, you'll only get a moderate amount of reprieve. You maybe get a little further. I'd rather you think of lengthening the spine more than bringing your chest more forward to the ground, because we've got another option here. And we're going to do this by just bending our left knee and sliding our hands down the left leg. Our goal is to reach the floor. So if we bend the left knee, and then maybe we have to bend the right knee to get our hands to the floor, that would be fine. Now check out the foot of the left foot, I should say arch of the left foot, the ball of the foot, the heel should be placed so that we have a beautiful arch there. And we can re-straighten the left leg a little bit and we will get a stretch. And it's a very controllable stretch. We bend the knee more to reduce it. We straighten the leg more to increase it. And in that action, we are just sort of creating a very calm, an engagement that will ask the leg muscle to get longer. It's an invitation. It is not a forced action. It's just something pleasant that will condition us to have a longer hamstring on the side. But now we're going to take this into a little bit of balance. And so I start with my hands on the ground, taking them out wider and a little more forward. Now I'm going to start to put more weight on the left foot. So I lift the right heel and just sort of push some weight over to the left foot. Now I can bend my left knee more if I need or straighten more if I need. Now that I've pushed a little bit of weight over, I can probably take my hands a little wider, a little further forward. You're going to know where your hand should belong. It'll feel more comforting. If you're comfortable with it, you just keep transferring more and more and more weight to the left foot until perhaps you can take all the weight off the right foot and even lift it up. Maybe that's all you do. You just sort of bounce it up and down, or maybe you lift it up to the point that it's level. And for some of you out there that are a little bit more advanced with it, you lift the leg just as high as you can and straighten the left leg to a comfortable stretch. And you're just breathing. And it's okay if it's a challenge to your balance because that's what it's supposed to be. Now we're going to let that right foot come all the way back down, and we're going to back our hands up, slowly transferring more and more weight to the right foot. We're going to bend the right knee, and to make it easy coming out of this, we're going to have our hands to our knees. We're going to come part way up, and because we were in a forward bend, we're going to pause right there, looking forward. Blood pressure adjusts very quickly, and then we come back up again. And there we are. And if you walk a moment or two, you're going to say, there is something different about my left side than my right side now. Yeah. Yes, there is. So thus we have to do the other side. So I'm going to start off, I've got my hips lined up at the front edge of the mat. I'm going to take my left leg into the back position, but remember it's not too far. And I don't put myself on a tightrope with one leg behind the other. I keep my left foot toward the left edge, my right foot toward the right edge, and I pivot the pelvis to face the front edge of the mat. Now we're going to make our thighs firm, our knees firm. We're going to pull in our core. We're going to lengthen spine, both front and back of the ribs, pulling away from the pelvis. And from this position with beautiful arches of our feet, we start to come forward. And there is going to be a limit, and the right leg's going to tell us to go no further. Your low back should be kept swayed toward the navel. The left side of the pelvis should be kept toward the mat, so it's level with the right side. And the right leg, we keep trying to tighten the thigh, but there is a limit on how far forward we go. Maybe your chest is up high. Maybe you get your chest parallel to the floor. You probably not have your chest on your thigh with all of these things being accomplished. We're breathing deeply, but it's okay, whatever our level, because we're just going to bend our right knee. We're going to take our hands down the leg to the floor. And then in that position, if you needed to bend the left knee to get the hands to the floor, you can. I just want you to just lightly re-straighten that right leg so that you're feeling stretch, but it's not overpowering. It's a comfortable sensation that's not too intense. You're just breathing, and you can just, be in this position, bending more or straightening more, and just find that perfect amount of stretch that you're experiencing with it. Just breathe deep. And you can continue to stay like that. But the balance challenge comes when I bring my hands a little more wide and a little more forward. And I lift up my left heel, starting to transfer weight onto the right foot, making sure the right foot has a beautiful arch. And then I just keep pressing outward. I can take my hands wider or more forward, as that would help the balance. You'll know where you're at. Maybe I get to the point where my left foot could just lightly come off the floor. Maybe I lift it up. Maybe I lift it to about level. Or maybe if I'm very comfortable with my balance and everything else about this, I take the leg up higher, straighten the right leg a little more, and we just take a deep breath. And then as we exhale, we bring that left foot back down. We start to push more weight onto the left foot until we can get even weight. We bend the knees, our hands come to the knees, we come part way up, and the belly nice and tight, and then we come the rest of the way up, so we're out of it without feeling like we're losing. And that's great. That's great. So that's a balance challenge. But there's lots of balance challenges. Some of them were standing on our feet. Some of them were actually kneeling or doing other things. And so there's plenty of balance challenge. And I'm going to bring us to the floor now. So what I want us to do is first warm up the arms a little bit for our next part of our challenge. And this is sort of a little bit of a flow I'm going to start in a tabletop, the hands under the shoulders, the knees under the hips, and so add extra padding as you need. I'm going to place my hands about a hand distance forward at least and pull my hips backward. But I find that I can probably move my hands even more forward, and I'm going to bring my elbows down. So my elbows are down, and I'm doing my best to keep my elbows, shoulders wide. It's very natural for your body to choose the more of an inward turn of the shoulder and the elbows to be wide, maybe even as wide as your mat. But I really like you to do your best to make the elbows line up the arms like they're train tracks, a straight line going from shoulder to elbow to wrist. Palms nicely flat, so don't let them cup, let them flatten out. And pull your hips backward to stretch. Now, some people might not have their head between the arms. They may be in a very different position, and that's fine. We're just going back. We're just finding what our comfortable limits are. But the elbows right now should be down, and I want you to squeeze your elbows slightly towards each other, like you're trying to bring them together. You're not actually moving them. You're just bringing it into a nice isometric contraction. With those elbows squeezed together, pull like you're pulling yourself up a cliff edge, and then just bring yourself to the point where your elbows are right underneath your shoulders, and then just stretch yourself backward. All the while you're doing this, you're trying to keep those elbows nice and narrow. Now, when you came back, if your elbows got wider, put them narrow again. Squeeze the elbows toward each other. Start to pull yourself forward, like pulling over a cliff edge, and then you're just shoulders over the elbows. Maybe you bring your shoulders to the point of the mid forearm or the wrist, and then you slowly come backward. So you can see I'm gradually moving a little more forward, but you'll have a comfortable limit. Squeeze the elbows toward each other and a comfortable height that you'll stay at. Maybe we can get our face over the space of our hands and come backward. Now, your whole body is being used during this. Your back is having to go into an extension to move forward. We're using our lat muscles and our rotator muscles as we squeeze the elbows toward each other. So we're just going over and over again to whatever comfortable forward position, and then we're squeezing the elbows toward each other, pushing backward. Our core is engaging. Our leg muscles are engaging. Lots of stuff happening as we do this over and over again. Let's do one more. Elbows squeezing toward each other, pulling forward. Some of you might want to experience the lowering of the face toward the space between the hands. Don't let your face smack into the floor. Squeeze your elbows toward each other, push yourself slowly backward. So you can see that's a graduated challenge, that it starts off, reasonable, and like many things in yoga, what starts reasonable becomes ridiculous later on. But every step of the way, if you just find the level that you're doing all those actions together, you're going to find that your body is going to get stronger. It's not a push-up, it's a different kind of thing, but akin to a push-up, we get stronger as we do more repetitions of it. Now I'm going to have that turn into something a little different, okay? So here we are, we're in this position. I'm going to have the arms forward and the elbows down again. And what I'd like to do from this position, elbows, shoulder distance wide, is I'll come forward and I want to stop the movement when my shoulders are right over the elbows. I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to place the right hand where my right elbow currently is. I'm just going to place it so the fingers turn in a little bit. My right elbow is poking out toward the right edge of the mat. And I'm going to rotate my left arm so that left hand is closer to my right hand. Now, as I push down on the arms, that might be your action today. Just sort of sink down and then press. It's a little interesting kind of twisting action. I'm trying to bring more weight over to the left side. And so I'm going to do that a couple times. More weight over the left side. Not just in the shoulders, but also in the legs. More weight shifting to the left side. And that's a lot going on. Now I'm going to straighten things out. I'm going to stretch the arms forward. There we are. And I'm going to start it over again. Elbows, shoulders, and wide. I come forward, shoulders over those elbows. It's going to be the left hand that I put in the place of the left elbow. The fingers turn toward the middle of the mat. And I rotate the right arm so the hands are closer together. And then from this position, my left elbow is pointed out, and I just sort of push over to the right side, and I come back again, and I push over the right side. And that's creating a rather interesting twisting action. As I push down on the arms, I can feel some engagement of chest muscles and this modified twist. Now this is the beginning of something that will be different. I'm going to re-rotate my right arm forward, I'm going to stretch my left arm back to the starting position, and we just stretch back again. And I show you that because probably for many people that would be like, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing that. So we start again. I come forward, shoulders over those elbows. The right hand goes where the elbow was, fingers turn inward. I rotate the left arm so that the hand is close. Now, you can just do the pushing, the weight on the arms and pushing toward the left. But if you want to try something more, as you push to the left, just hang out right there. Shift the weight off of that right knee and lift the right leg up. And if you want to do more, you bring the right knee in the direction of the back of the arm. We worked on this a little bit last week. And then we'll just pull back into the starting position. And we'll do this again. We come forward, shoulders over those elbows. We're going to put the left hand where the elbow was. We rotate the right arm. It's very precise. And we push weight toward the right, taking weight off the left. Perhaps maybe you don't want to go further. Maybe just lift the left leg up. Maybe bring the left knee toward the back of the arm. And then coming back and out of that. And then we go back to the starting position. So it's really important for us to find our level of work, find where our challenge is, and do repeated action. So one more time with this. I'm coming forward, shoulders over the elbow. The right hand goes where the elbow was. I rotate the left arm so the hands are closer. I shift the weight over to the left side, even in the legs. And maybe I lift the right leg up, and maybe I touch and see if I can bring it. And then we come back to the starting position. And then one more time, shoulders over the elbow, left hand goes where the elbow was, right arm rotates. We shift weight to the right, maybe that's all we do, or maybe we lift the left knee, and maybe we take the left knee toward the left arm. And then we come back down, and stretch those arms, and here we go. So that is indeed, coming out of that is indeed a challenge of balance. Challenge of balance. Now, there's a lot to those actions, but one more challenge, and I promise I'll take you out of these kneeling positions soon. One more challenge of balance is a little more simplified, and it is one where the goal is to at first keep the shoulders and the pelvis nice and level, and the spine nice and long as we give ourselves a challenge. So. My shoulders are now over my palms. If this is uncomfortable, you can have the arms a little more forward, okay? And what I want us to do is to make the shoulders broad in between the shoulder blades and level, and the pelvis broad and level. And I'm going to ask you to reach your left hand toward the left front edge of the mat. And then take your right leg and straighten out, reaching it toward the right back edge of the mat. And then just level everything out again. So we have the weight going to suspend on the right hand and the left knee. And we're going to lift the left arm and the right leg up and just keep everything level. Take a breath, put them back down, and then bring ourselves back to the tabletop position. That's called a bird dog. Okay, so we start again. And by the way, if you need to stretch back with a point, take pressure off that wrist, you can. We level the shoulders, we widen the shoulders, we level the pelvis, and now the right hand goes toward the right front edge of the mat. And the left leg goes toward the left back edge of the mat, level everything out, and then right arm and left leg lift up. Take a breath. Exhale, they come down, and we go back into the tabletop, and the in-between position could be the arm stretched forward. Now, repeated efforts, again, this is something that if you don't do it very often, you're going to feel it's very awkward. You're going to rock back and forth, or you may be doing it enough that you're getting really good at it. So let's do it again. Wide shoulders, level shoulders and pelvis. feel that you're constricted to folding your legs, you can have your legs in a variety of positions as long as you're not having to use your arms to prop yourself up. You could, lean back on the couch if you really wanted to, and that would be fine too. The best is to be in that comfortable position and fidget around as you would need to find your comfort when the first position becomes a little stale. So get onto those sitting bones. By lifting up, you should have the low back swaying a little bit toward the navel line. And as we upward lift, we feel that that's coming all the way through the top of the head, so it's involving our neck. And we're just going to roll a shoulder, and then we're going to roll the other side. So we're going to roll those shoulders around. We're going to feel and hear and sense the pulling and the clicking, and we're going to go the other way. Now, when things click repetitively, that's a sign of an imbalance. Let your chin tilt down. Let the weight of the head just sort of hang there. Feel like the back of your neck is being lifted up. Let your head turn gently from side to side. And you're going to feel tension, and you might hear clicks and pops. These are shoulders and necks have a lot of different muscles controlling movements. And it's very likely that imbalances cause those muscles to create approximation, too close position. And so their tendons tend to thrum across either other tendons or bony outcrops. At center, lift the chin. Now, and lift the face. It's like something very gently is pulling our face upward, and we're not collapsing our neck, and we're just going to turn from side to side, and there might be more clicks. So those clicks are a sign of things not being the right length, joints not being in the right position. They're minor issues. They are issues. They're just a sign of imbalance. Come on to center and bring the chin down. With your eyes, your chin level, your head lifting up, turn your head all the way to one side. Breathe deeply. And then turn your head all the way to the other side and breathe deep. And then come back to center. Lift that head up. And then tilt your ear toward your shoulder. And this little thing, the rolling of the shoulders, this movement of the head, if we did only these things, and now the other way, if we did only these things, we would be better off. That is very simple. It's not going to take us very long at all to do this series of movements. And that's actually studies that show these movements help us. So take time every day to do at least things like this, all right? So at least these actions. But what I have planned for the shoulder and the neck is a little different. So I want us to be seated, but not in this position. I'd like us to sit and have our feet and our knees wide. Now, this is going to be taking care of a lot of areas at once. I like multi-purpose poses. So the knees are wide. The spine, we lengthen more, so we're arched back a bit. And we are going to take our legs, folding them to the left so that the outside of the left leg comes down, and the legs are so separated that they form a zigzag pattern with the inside of the right leg down. So the legs are sort of touching each other like this. And all of our weight's on our left hip. And I'm going to have my left arm beside me. I'm going to bring the right hand across to the left knee. Now, just for the moment, as we're just sort of casually here, all the weight on the left side, have it twist together or not, I want you to notice that you can make your shoulder lift up toward, your right shoulder lift up toward your ear, and you can also make your shoulder drift down toward your hip. And we'll just do that again. We'll remind ourselves, even though we're in this position, we've got control of that shoulder up and the shoulder down. And we'll just do it one more time to remind ourselves the shoulder can go up and the shoulder can go down. Okay, so left hand's going to stay on the knee, the right knee. We're going to pull, excuse me, that's my right hand, that's my left knee. God. Pull to the left and then pivot around toward the left. Now, your right shoulder, let's bring it up toward the right ear, stretching the side of the chest. Let's take a deep inhale. And then exhaling, moving out of the pose to the starting position. Now deliberately pull your right shoulder toward your hip. Feel the stretch in the neck. Lean the head a little bit away from that shoulder. Take a breath. Exhaling. Now, if you wanted to, instead of having your hand there, you could lower onto your left elbow. Let's try it that way. And pull along the left side. Pivot the right shoulder around. And then reach the right shoulder toward your head. Stretch the side. Take a deep breath. And then exhale. Come out of the twist and reach the right shoulder toward the hip and lean your head a little away from that shoulder. Take a breath. And exhale. We're going to do it one more time. You might say, well, I want to be up. Or you can stay down. Pivot toward the left, reach the right shoulder, stretch the side of the chest, take a deep breath. Exhale and come out of that, lower the shoulder toward the hip, lean the head a little bit, take a breath. And then we exhale, we're just going to come completely out of that. And we're going to do the other side. Okay, so we're going to start over again. We got to start over with those knees nice and wide, those hands back behind us, that nice long spine. And now we're going to take our legs toward the right. And the outside of the right leg is brought down, and the legs are wide enough that the inside of the left leg comes down, the legs form a zigzag pattern. All that weight is on our right hip. Our right hand is beside us. The left hand is on the knee. But before we do any movement, we're going to ask our left shoulder to come near our ear. And then toward the hip. And then we do that again, shoulder near the ear. And toward the hip. And then one more time, shoulder near the ear and toward the hip. Okay, now we're going to pull to the right. We're going to bring our left shoulder around into our twist, and we're going to reach the left shoulder near our ear, stretch the side of the chest, take a deep breath. Exhale, we come back to the starting position. We deliberately lower that left shoulder toward the hip and lean the head gently away. Take a breath. Exhale. Now, if you want, you can try that right elbow down under the shoulder, the lower position. Pulling to the right, we can pivot the left shoulder around and then reach that left shoulder toward the head. Take a deep breath, stretching that side. Exhale, backing out of the twist and then just pulling the left shoulder toward the hip and leaning the head gently away. Take a breath. Exhale. The third time is you can keep the elbow down or raise it back up to the starting position. Pull to the right. Pivot the left shoulder around, reach that left shoulder near the head, take a deep breath. Exhale, coming out of the twist and lowering the shoulder toward the hip and leaning the head and take a deep breath. And then exhaling, and we just bring ourselves up and out of that, and that is great. Well, that action is really great. Very good. I've got some nice things for us to do to release more tension out of the back and engage some nice core muscles. So let's come on to our back. And as we're on our back, I want our head to be rested with that chin pointed upward and those shoulders sort of moved a little bit away from the head so there's more tension taken out of the neck. And for the moment, we'll sort of flatten our back and arch our back a little bit. Just make it arch. And just for this action, I just want you to take your hands and reach them up toward the ceiling. Okay, so just the hands are right above the shoulders. And I just want you to keep the left hand pointed up and just take your right arm and just bring it alongside you, but don't rest it on the floor. Just let it hover there and then bring it back up again. And then the left arm is just going to come toward the floor, but it doesn't actually touch. And then it comes back up again. And we'll do that again on the right side. This is very simple. So, not to worry. This is just sort of a warm up. It's to get the brain used to the action. We're going to do it left side. So you're saying, well, this isn't doing anything for me. That's just a warm up. One more time with the right side, coming toward the floor, but not touching, and then back up again. And the left side. And maybe your arm doesn't move very close to the floor, and that's fine. Okay. And so we're going to relax that. Now, I want you to lift your feet off the floor so your knees are right above you. And you can have the knees in about a 90-degree bend. And what I want you to do is move only the right leg. Keep your body exactly this position. Your arms can be out to the side. And just bring your right leg towards the floor, but don't move your left leg. And then bring it back up again. And then bring your left leg towards the floor, but don't move your right leg. And then bring it back up again. And don't strain your back, okay? And we'll try the right side. So, the distance that your leg travels toward the floor is a very modifiable thing. And then back up again. And then the left leg is going to go towards the floor. If you want to straighten the leg out, you can. Once again, right leg, if you want to make it more straight, but not touch the floor. Back up again. You can say, that's making my core muscles work. Yeah, it is. Left side. And then back up again. And just put the feet down and rest a moment. Now that arm and that leg action can be combined together, and it gets called the bug, and it's the equivalent of the activity that we were doing when we were doing the bird dog. But I do the bug in a way that moves only one arm and only one leg. So the position, if you want to try it out, is that you lift your feet up off the floor in that same position, knees right above the hips, legs are down, and the arms are right here. So you sort of look like, I guess, a bug on the floor. Now, the right hand, I'm going to move it and hover it. And my left leg, I'm going to move it away from, and hover, and I'm just going to keep the left arm and the right leg, put it up there, and then I'm going to bring it back to where they were. Now the left arm, I'm going to make it hover, and the right leg, I'm going to make it hover, and then I'm going to bring it back to where they were. Now, if I can move the leg and the arm at the same time, but only those two, so the right hand and the left leg, they're going to move toward the floor, and then back up again. And the left hand and the right leg, they're going to move in the direction of the floor, and then back up again. Your body's going to want to move everything at once. Try not to let it. You get tired, put those feet down. Right arm and left leg, woo, and back up again. Keep breathing. Left arm and right leg, yeah, and then back up again. Okay, and just bring those knees into the chest, let the back flat. Okay, so that was definitely some core action. Modifiable. You can move only the legs, you can move only the arms if you wanted to, or you can move them all together and create that action. But the follow through of this is that we need to create some release work for the flat because the tension can build up in the low back region. It's not unusual. We want to make sure that it doesn't reach a threshold before the back is resentful of the activity. And so I want to create a little bit of movement. I'm going to hold the legs and just rock a little side to side across the back of the pelvis because this flattens that area. And so I think of it as we're just sort of ironing things out right now. And as I'm making this rocking action, what I'm going to start to do is as I rock to the left, I'm going to move the left leg a little more to the left. And as I rock to the right, I'm going to move the right leg a little more to the right. So I'm creating this little bit of a knee. So it's not moving to the right, it's moving a little bit further away from my chest. So the rocking is very minor, and I'm holding with my arms. They're like a cable system. They're keeping me very comfortable with the actions. Just back and forth, a little bit of action like that. Okay, good. Now at center, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rest my left foot down so I can get a little bit more action. I'm going to pull the right knee nice and firmly in. And then very slowly it's going to stretch my shoulders. It's going to stretch the leg. I'm going to move that leg away. Just hang on nice and tight. And then I'm going to pull the knee back toward my chest again, pull it in. And then move it away. I'm sort of resisting in both directions a little bit. Stretch those shoulders a little. And then once again, pulling the leg in and moving that leg away. Okay. Now, let that leg rest down. Left leg. I'm pulling it in. I'm going to pull it in nice and close and hang on to it. I'm going to move it gently away. That's going to help me flatten back. Stretch my shoulders too. Nice 2 foot. Again, legs being pulled in and then moving away. And just one more time. In we go. And away we go. Okay, good. Now relax. Take your feet down. Make them wide on your mat. Okay? Arms out to the side. We're going to do a little knee rock. We're going to drop the knees toward the left side, allowing the right side to lift upward comfortably. Take the right arm either alongside the head or reach the left arm across your body. Wind blown action. And then come back to the starting position with his legs up and his arms out the side. And then the legs are going to go toward the right, and the left side of the pelvis is going to lift up. And we can either take the left arm alongside the head or also reach the right arm across the body. Breathing deep. Come on back to center. Again, toward the left, the arms can be brought into the action, or they just stay resting off to the side. Deep breathing. And up. And again, let's go to the right. The arms can be rested off to the side or stretched across us. And up we go. Now there's some finishing actions that you might prefer versus the ones that I give you. And if you prefer to do those, you can. But the finishing actions is, for me, to have you go back to what is the most neutral, most perfect aligned posture. So I'm going to have you walk your legs out away from the body. Okay? And once those legs are straight, you're going to turn out and turn in the hips. So an inward and outward movement. Just it can be fast or slow. So that the muscles pull into the pelvis in such a way that helps align things. We're going to shimmy, reaching one leg longer, shimmy, reaching the other leg longer, so the side of the waist is drawn longer on one side. And then we're going to tighten the seat muscles. That's going to create an effect across the front and back of the pelvis. We're going to release them a couple of times, each of these things. And we're going to partially flatten and partially arch the back with those legs stretched out straight. So all of these things help adjust the pelvis to its most optimal position. We don't have any compressive weight of our body weight on the pelvis right now or on the hips right now. And when we relax things, it's natural for the feet and knees to sort of point outward the front of the pelvis and the pubic bone to line up for there to be a slight curve and flow back. And we're going to walk those shoulders toward the hip. We're also going to stretch the arms to widen apart the shoulder blades and then rest the arms back down again with the arms turned inside of the elbows and palms. We're going to rock the head to the left and the right. We're going to tuck the chin in and stretch the leg or circle the chin until we become more aware of where the chin would be in the center of the neck, center of the jaw, and leave it there. Now you can just start to breathe deeply, inhaling, expanding belly and sides and lower and upper back, exhaling slowly. But if you really are intense, it's good to make a soft contraction in the hands and the feet and breathe contractions into the arms and the legs, into the seat muscles and the belly and the chest and the back, and the face and the neck. Just inhale and we hold the contraction throughout the inhale. And then we exhale and we go soft and limp, because that contraction followed by the limp body is a key to our nervous system to let go of that stress. And you might have to do it more than once. You might have to isolate a part of the body to really let the muscles let go. But then we're just soft and limp and loose. And we're just breathing. Just breathing. We're just right here. We're just right now. And that might be where you need to be for several minutes, just in that relaxed state. Like a polishing cloth, like your nervous system is refined to keep everything comfortable. Or maybe you want to start the process of slow movements that gradually stretches and bring us back up to sit. You've done great work, so let your finishing action be what suits you the most. And it's been great to have you.